Welcome to our first ever love broadcast. We will be giving you these audio broadcasts throughout the month of September, released on Sundays. I'm so excited to share this time with you. My name is Heather Christian Strang. You can call me Christian. I'm a mystic and a spiritual guide. I should say, not purposely a mystic and a spiritual guide, but that is where my life has led me. And today we're talking to you about two very important topics, love and fear. And so we're going to talk about fear and love and how to navigate being in a physical body, being the divine spiritual being that you are, and navigating this earth plane where love and fear are dominant forces, and how do we navigate this life unfolding, knowing that these energies are ever present, and also knowing that love is the highest path, even though there seems to be as much fear on that path. So to allow yourself to be in full receiving mode of this broadcast that I'm bringing through at this time, I ask that you take some nice deep breaths to just clear out any resistances in your body to receiving that which you most need to hear at this time. So take a nice deep inhale through the nose and imagine that you're gathering up any resistances to living more in love and being free of fear, and you're exhaling out the mouth. You're just letting those resistances go. Inhaling through the nose, you're just gathering up anything that's holding you back from being the even more full expression of love in your life at this time. Exhale is blowing it out. And I want you to ground yourself as well. Because we're bringing through such high vibrational information, I find this with all of my work, it can be really easy to get ungrounded. Anytime we're talking about spiritual topics, it can be easy to sort of like float away on a cloud. And that's not what we want happening. We want you grounded in your body so that you can take this broadcast and the information that I'm bringing through and take it into your life and have immediate shifts and expansions. So to do that, we want you to stay in your body. And right now, the guidance is for you to visualize a red cord of light going from your sacrum into the core of Mother Earth. And just see it like anchoring in, like hooking into the core of Mother Earth. You're so fully in your body. You're so fully present in this moment. You're so fully receiving this broadcast so that you can live a life of greater love. Beautiful. You may even want to place your palms face up to just allow yourself to be in receiving mode. Do whatever feels comfortable for you here. You can even make a statement out loud that says, I now allow myself to receive the fullness of this broadcast with ease and grace. Beautiful. So let's start by talking about fear, because we are literally programmed and wired to experience fear. So when we talk about the human body, the human form, there is the reptilian brain. This is like the human animal part of us, the instinctual part of us. And that part of us is wired to be on the lookout for anything that could take us out of the body experience. And so what we often do when we're in a reptilian state is we are in survival. We're in competition. We're on the lookout for something bad could happen. I've got to be guarded. I've got to protect myself from people, places, and things so that I can stay in a body. I just had the experience this morning as I was doing my morning practices, and there was a chipmunk, this huge, squirrel. I debated, is it a chipmunk? Is it a squirrel? This huge squirrel in my tree. And the minute this squirrel heard like a noise, it immediately was on alert. It abandoned its mission of getting the nuts, got itself back to safety, checked everything out. Okay, he's safe. He goes back at it to get more nuts off the tree. And as he's eating the nuts, he's looking around constantly. Am I safe? Am I protected? Is everything okay? That's the reptilian brain. And you and I have that. And we know people who are living solely in their reptilian brain, right? These are people that are fighting. They're going to fight anything that's happening. They're trying to survive. They got to take out the bad guys. Like there are threats to them at any moment. Their survival is up for debate at any moment. Anyone who even says something negative towards what they might believe, oh my God, that's a whole thing, right? This is reptilian brain only. Now, most of us aren't that extreme. And if you're listening to this broadcast, you are most likely not living 100% in your reptilian brain. But what it's important to note is that you have a reptilian brain and I have a reptilian brain, and that sucker is wired to survive. It is wired so that you keep yourself guarded, protected, And so that you survive this in the body experience. And we're not saying that's a negative thing, but to live solely from that placement, we're missing out on the beauty, the wonder, the mysticism, the magic that is this life experience. And so too often we get caught up in how do I survive? Now this can show up in some really interesting ways, right? So how much money I make. Am I making enough money? Do I have enough money? How am I going to survive? How am I going to provide for my family? How am I going to get through this? How am I going to survive this experience? Whether it's a health challenge, a relationship falling apart, or a relationship coming together, or job loss, job gain, whatever it might be, these all will activate these deep instinctual fear responses. Now, we can interact with these fear responses in a number of ways. You know, the JOGs, which is part of my spirit team and I channel transmissions for, they had a transmission for us in our book, Ecstatic Union with the Divine, where they talked about survival consciousness and abandoning survival consciousness, and that if the tiger is going to eat you, like it was always meant to eat you. And so really surrendering this, like I have to like guard and protect, and my survival is like this critical thing that I'm solely in control of. And they really encouraged us to let go of that mentality and to really remember that we'll make our transition when we're meant to. If we're meant to have an experience of a loss of any kind, then that's the experience we're going to have. And our job is to show up for it, connected to who we really are. The fact of the matter is, you have a reptilian brain. I have a reptilian brain. These triggers are going to come up and you're going to find yourself at various points throughout your experience in fear. So then what do? Because as it turns out, fear is a direct blockage to love. You cannot be in fear and be in love at the same time. It's impossible. What we want to encourage and invite you to, and invite us all to, is to up-level our vibrational frequency and connection to love, so that there's less and less of that reptilian brain, less and less of that survival instinct, less and less of that fear, I have to guard, I have to protect, something bad might happen, that's running our show. But we want to talk about, and the whole purpose for these broadcasts is to give you practical tools and ways that you can do that. So the first thing that we want you to do is to stop seeing fear as the enemy. So often we're like, oh my God, I'm in fear. This is bad. I've got to get out of fear, right? When I don't know why I keep calling it a chipmunk. When the squirrel sees or hears the truck, he's immediately taking action. Like, I got to get out of here. I got to protect myself, right? So what can we do to slow down that process and actually tune into our fear to see what's going on? Because if the squirrel had a prefrontal cortex like you and I have, so we're going to talk about our ability to live in the higher realms, and the reason why we're not here to live in survival is that the human brain has evolved, and we have a prefrontal cortex now, which guess what that rules? It rules advanced states of consciousness. It rules the ability to love and experience deep empathy, and actually to experience love and despair and love and fear and still choose love. The squirrel in the tree doesn't have that. Right? So he's on instinct, like something's coming, I got to get out of here. But too many of us are responding in the same way to our life circumstances. Something quote unquote bad is happening, I got to get the F out of here. This is not safe. I got to protect myself. I got to guard myself. This is everything from matters to the heart to cash money to, any experience you're having in your life unfolding. When you hear a truck go bump in the night, how do you respond? So because you have your prefrontal cortex, because you have your heart brain, your heart center, because you are a spirit in human form, you have different choices that you can make rather than that squirrel can do. So what you can do is slow down in that moment where that fear is coursing through your body, that anxiety is coursing through your body, you're feeling that fear, you can slow down, you can ground. You can take some nice deep breaths. You can even see the fear that you're feeling, and you can place it in your grounding cord and just watch in a bubble of light, and just watch that bubble of light with fear in it just go down your grounding cord and go into the core of Mother Earth, and let Mother Earth transmute that fear to what all things are, which is divine love. So the way to no longer allow fear to rule your life is to not try to eradicate fear. You have a reptilian brain, so do I. We're in the process of evolving forward what it means to be in human form, and we still have this old paradigm, these old archetypal responses within us from ancestry, from previous lifetimes, and it's literally in our physical body and the brain. So we aren't meant to avoid fear. We're not meant to eradicate it. We're meant to work with it in a harmonious way that allows us to transmute it and allows us to receive a greater flow of love and a greater experience of love in our life, because guess what? Love is the only thing that is real. At the end of the day, at the core of it all, the only thing that is real is that you come from love, I come from love, we came here, we were born from love. It is all fucking love. It is. And the ego mind and the reptilian brain and the parts of us that want to fight for our separation and say, no, we're different, we're separate. I'm in this group, you're in that group, and we have to do this and that, and we have to fight each other. All of that is just noise. It's not even real. It can be real, and we see many people choosing to have that experience of that being real and that being the fight that they're in. And we bless them. That's their choice. We have free will. We can choose to live our life at whatever frequency that we're called to. But if you're listening to this broadcast, you no doubt want to live your life from a higher frequency. You want to be part of the change. You're most likely a light worker. You're someone who feels a strong desire to be of service, to support a higher level of consciousness in your own life unfolding, which then creates a ripple effect to allow more of that on the planet. So we want you to work with your fear in a new way. We're inviting you to work with your fear in a new way so that when it shows up, you're no longer avoiding it. So some of the ways we can avoid it is we can try and numb out with food, drink, internet, television, anything mindless that will just allow us to numb out. Those little games people play on their phones or video games, or there's all different kinds of ways that we can literally leave our body and numb out from the experience that we're having. One of the other ways we can do that is to just get really caught up in the drama of it, right? So we can feel the fear and then we can just get full on into it. Like, yes, this terrible thing is happening and we have to fight it. And there's all these things I have to do to try and keep myself from this bad thing happening or happening more. We can also go into the drama as a way of also being disconnected from what is actually true. So before we do any of that, we ask, slow it down. Take some nice deep breaths. Ground yourself. Visualize the fear that you're feeling at the surface going down your grounding cord. And then just getting curious about what the fear might need from you or want from you. And I'm going to give you a hint here. What fear wants is your love. I had this really incredible experience many, many months ago, actually about a year ago. And I am someone who grew up in fear. My parents believed in fear. They were living in fear. I was in a religion that was totally based in fear. It was just a fear. It was a fear-a-thon. We were just living it. We were living the drama. We were living in the illusion. That's what it was all about. So I had a very strong fear consciousness, which is why this is, and survival consciousness. And so that's why this is my work in the world, and really about embracing the fear so that it can be transmuted so that we can live in our natural state, which is love. So I had this experience where I was feeling a lot of intense fear. And I was feeling it through my body, and I knew that I could try and avoid it. I knew I could go into the drama of it, right? I could engage the drama of something bad is happening and trying to find what it is and how do I protect myself. But I knew enough at that point that I was like, no, those are not good options. What do I do? And I look in the mirror and I'm making eye contact with myself and I'm like, okay, we can do this. So what do we do with this fear? And I hear my higher wisdom say, fear just wants to be loved too. It makes me cry every time. I started crying instantly. And so we share this message with you because it's true. Anything that is absent of love just wants to be loved. That reptilian brain, that instinctual animal instinct, just wants to be loved. That squirrel just wants to be loved. Doesn't know it, but just wants to be loved. That is all any energy wants. That's all anything wants. At the core, it just wants to be loved. If you're confused about what someone in your life wants or needs, you don't have to be confused. Just give them love, because that's what they want. Whatever it is. It's a child, a partner, an animal, whatever it is, just love it. Because that is everything, and that includes fear. So one of the things that I do with my fear when it shows up is I love on it. I'm like, oh, sweetie, I treat it like a small child. Like, oh, you're scared. I totally get it. Oh, I'm just going to love on you. And I just surround my fear, and I visualize this, and you're welcome to do that in whatever way you feel called to. I just surround it in pink love, and I call in source, and we're just going to love on this fear, because fear just wants to be loved too. Fear is just an energy that wants to be transmuted to love, like all energies. So we want to invite you to really work with your fear in this new way, to really see it not as something to avoid or to get sucked into or to get freaked out by or to numb out from. We want you to see it as just another part of being in the body. You and I did not come here to skip around on clouds and like be in bliss all day long without ever having any other experience other than that. If that's what we wanted to have, we would not have incarnated into a body. So it's important to remember that this is just part of the body experience. How do you evolve an animal consciousness forward? How do you do it? You have to be in that consciousness and keep working through it to transmute those pieces. The only way we evolve forward the reptilian brain that is in the human form is to work with the higher realms, to work with our higher wisdom, to work with our prefrontal cortex and our heart brain, so that we are living from those places and not that animal reptilian instinct. And when we see others in the world living in this way, we remember any energy other than love wants, and including love, is to be loved. That's it. And when you love what is already loved, what happens? Just even more love comes from it. So beautiful. So this is really, really like a simple, basic premise that you can immediately begin to integrate into your life to have a new experience with your fear. Don't try and get rid of your fear. Don't be mad at your fear. Don't try and avoid your fear. Don't try and be like, I'm going to live without fear ever. Like, fear is going to come up until we have fully ascended and we are living from the prefrontal cortex and the heart brain, and we're not being run by the reptilian brain. It's going to show up. It's part of our assignment. It's part of why you came. It's part of why I came. We wanted to step into what would it be like to be in a body and not be ruled by the same shit that has been ruling us for lifetimes. What would it be like to not be in survival consciousness about this person, place, or thing, or about this experience, or about this disease, or about this health issue, or about whatever it is? What would it be like if I just loved it? Now, the next question to that is, well, what does that look like? What does it look like to love something that is not showing up as love? And that requires us to go into our heart center. That requires us, I will immediately just place my hand on my heart center, because you are love. You don't have to work to, how do I love something? You are love. It's there. It's total acceptance. It's total acceptance for the divinity of whatever it is that is before you. And looking for all the good that is there, all the light that is there, and then feeling that vibrational resonance with it, and feeling that warmth in your heart that comes from seeing someone through the eyes of source, or seeing a situation through the eyes of source, and having compassion and empathy and patience and this deep swell of love, because you are love and they are love and it is love. And that's what we came to remember while in a body, so that we're no longer running around like crazy people. Like the squirrel in the tree. We're no longer doing that, running all over the place, trying to get our food, trying to get our money, trying to keep ourselves safe. I mean, what the hell is that? That's not even living. That's surviving. And we've already done that for like so many lifetimes. No, we're not repeating that. Now, some people are repeating that because that's where they're at in their evolution. And you certainly have the choice to say, yeah, I'm just going to go into the drama and I'm going to go ahead and just ride the wave of the survival and fear consciousness. But you could also say, you know what? No, that's not good enough for me in this lifetime. I'm going to do things differently because I care about my own soul's evolution and I understand the power of the ripple effect. In the book Power versus Force, they measure specific frequencies for various emotional states. And what they've been able to find is the resonance and the impact, I should say, of these frequencies on the greater whole. And when you are vibrating at the frequency of pure love, you are impacting 750,000 people. That's a lot of fucking people. You don't have to go and send an email to 750,000 people. You don't have to get on a stage in front of 750,000 people. You don't have to do anything to or for those 750,000 people other than to vibrate at the frequency of pure love. So if you just made that your sole intention, everything I do every day is all about getting into that place of vibrating at the frequency of pure love. You're doing your work. You're having the biggest impact you can possibly have. And you don't have to stress yourself out doing 10 million things to try and reach those people. You're already doing it. That's how powerful you are. That's how powerful I am. That's why we're here. It's not about like, I got to get all this visibility and I got to do all this stuff and I got to get in front of all these people. No, you just got to do your work. You just got to vibrate at the frequency of pure love. And when you're vibrating at the frequency of pure love, guess what? You're going to be guided to, you're going to be brought all of the various ways that you can continue to give love, all of the various ways that you can show up as love and carry that ripple effect even further forward. If you are so called to this message, this broadcast that we brought to you, if you feel a resonance in the core of your being, if you know that this is the path for you, then I invite you to join us for Love Mastery 2017. We've never done anything like this before. I'm so excited to close out 2017, getting all of our love activists and love warriors and warriors for the light together and really coming together and eradicating fear within ourselves. And by eradicate, we mean transmute. We mean, yes, it's there, but we're going to take it to the next level so that we can have an experience of truly being a beacon of love in this world. Not in thought, not in talk, but in literal integration. So there'll be a link in the comments below so that you can check out Love Mastery 2017 to see if it's right for you. We start September 29th. We're going to be together with weekly transmissions. You're going to get twice weekly transmissions, twice monthly live events and master classes with me and the JOGs. You'll get your deepest questions answered. You'll have access to us. You're going to be attuned and aligned and supported. We've got meditations. We'll be attuning you to the frequency of pure love so that you can truly be the love that you came here to be in this lifetime. Thank you so much for listening to this love broadcast, and stay tuned for the next one next Sunday, and post any comments or questions below. And I look so forward to hearing about how you are transmuting fear in your life and you're choosing to live from your heart brain, from your prefrontal cortex, really living in an advanced state of consciousness while in a physical body. That's what we came to do. I love you. Thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to connecting with you very soon.